we're going to be talking about the Indian retail space today, right? So we've just heard news over the past few days that Jiomart by Reliance is going to be launching, and I think it's going to be a force to reckon with in the Indian retail space. And so Karan, Dhingra, and myself, Anish, Krishnan, we're going to be talking about the general Indian retail space, online versus offline, who the players are, and then how Jiomart more specifically will be positioned along with the other market participants. So what we have here in front of us is the current Indian retail space offline by the what's the name of this organization? IBEF?
I think it's majorly
What's the full form?
I'll have to check. It's for Indian Brand Equity Foundation.
Right. So Karan, I think you can talk a bit about the current market size as it stands.
Okay, so how we see the current market size, or per se how we seeing the trend for past decade. If we see for 2010, it majorly stands at $424 billion, whereas if we see for 2021, it is almost 3 times than it was at 2010. So for 2021, it's estimated to be $1,200 billion.
Right.
So I think for the sector composition, if you see FMCG sector in India is also doubling from 2018 to 2020. Right. There's it's almost doubled, exactly doubled. Whereas I think segment share is also quite much. We're seeing 3%. Your traditional retail, which is maximum, it holds 88% of the market size, whereas the e-commerce currently only stands at 3%, and it's quite shocking also, when surprising per se, when we hear that how e-commerce is currently disrupting the traditional retail space, whereas it only holds 3% of the segment share though. I think we can move forward with the link though.
Yeah, so I think what we'll be seeing is, with increased internet adoption, there's going to be a lot more a higher number of people who start shopping online, but if you're in a city and are used to using Amazon or Flipkart and only surrounded by it, you may think that it's a large number, but it actually isn't. And so even if you think about e-commerce, there are broadly 2 segments I think you can think of within it. So one is FMCG, so fast moving consumer goods, and that includes your food items and groceries, and you have startups and companies that are dedicated to only delivering you FMCG products. And then you have the other set of products, which are just physical goods which are non-perishable. I think Jiomart is positioning itself to act in the FMCG space initially, and then move on to non-perishables. But as we see here in the e-commerce space, the trend is going to keep going up, right? So you have the general size in 2017 at $38 billion, moving upwards into 64 this year, and then predicted to grow by 20% up until 2027, and beyond that to about $200 billion. And so it makes a lot of sense for a new entrant with good network effects to get in this space.
Anish, if we also see the sector composition, so the electronic actually holds 48%, which is like the majority of the entire sector composition, which is quite a lot.
Right.
When we also talk about Jiomart coming in, so I think the sector composition that would be taking would be somewhat from the others and the baby, beauty, and personal care products, right?
Right.
So I think that would almost come up to 8 plus 3, which is 11% of the retail sector composition of which they are targeting.
Yeah, so I mean, general trends just show that things are growing at quite an interesting pace.
Yes. Yeah.
So if we start talking about current market players, I mean, we know definitely that we have Amazon. We have Amazon in the Amazon, Flipkart, that dominate the online retail space, and then we have companies like Big Bazaar, Spencer Shopping, and even Dmart, that are big in the offline space. So if we look at this article here, so we see Amazon partners with India's second largest retailer to sell its goods online, and this is a very interesting shift to see Amazon, which is purely online, partner with someone offline in a market like India. So yeah, let's just get into this thing highlighted here and what that means.
Okay, yeah. So like, according to like Technopark advisors, retail in India is estimated to be 188 billion business in next 3 years, from 79 billion in 2018. So that's again a double increase. Online sales still account for less than 5% of the overall retail. So as the figure that we were seeing for like 3% for the e-commerce that holds, the figures changed to 5%. So majorly we can say that it's nearly 5% of what the online sales include for the retail specifically.
Yeah. So I think because like the offline retail space in India is so huge, it's not the same when compared to developed countries such as the US and Europe.
Yeah.
So you have to have kind of a online offline model. That's something, again, I think we're going to see later into into our discussion, where someone like a market participant, market entrant like Amazon or Flipkart that's looking to get into the FMCG space, but try and win that area is not going to win alone or through a purely online model.
Yeah. So like
it's going to yeah.
If we also see like this space, like how this article also specifically focus on like Amazon taking over or like per se tying up with future retail. So this news is also coming in after the announcement of Jiomart. So obviously the tension is already rising between the space.
Correct.
So like the article also mentions is that these guys, Amazon and Future Retail. So now Future Retail is also owns quite a brands in India, which it operates a Big Bazaar, Shoppers Stop, and one more. But majorly 80% of its income comes through Big Bazaar itself. Now
Right.
for Future Retail, this is very important because since the offline sales are taking a dip in this time of e-commerce era, so these guys have entered into an agreement where Amazon will be listing Future Retail's product lineup, and
Okay.
so the Future Retail actually operates 1500 stores across India, and so as the part of their agreement, Amazon India will become the authorized online sale channel for the Future Retail stores. And the better part for the consumer is that to augment a faster delivery, these guys would be placing the orders to the nearest store where the customers currently placed at, so the deliveries can take faster. and so that the packaging and deliveries can be at a much faster pace for the consumer. So that's a big news coming
Right.
in
It's
for
so it's kind of like using the network effects and supply chain that Future Group or Future Retail already has.
Yeah.
And so basically the orders will come through Amazon and they process all of that, and then the delivery and order management will take place through Future Retail along with delivery. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talking about online retailers tackling like FMCG goods. So we have Grofers in Delhi, and you're based in Delhi. So, and you were telling me recently that you were once ordering via Big Basket, and that has shifted now to Grofers. And so, how did that come about? And yeah.
So usually, like every Indian family household, the orders were majorly placed to a local reseller itself.
Right.
But after the e-commerce actually coming up to the home, the scene actually quite changed. We were actually shifted to Big Basket, but with respect to Grofers, the pricing strategy, their discounts, their customer experience were, I think, was quite a turnaround for us also to look at Grofers now. So I
Okay.
think like Grofers has been quite a pleasant experience to use, and I remember
So
this time like
these guys are growing. These guys are growing pretty fast right now, and
yeah,
like
now they
they
are,
expanded
now
to a
they
lot
are,
of
yeah.
countries. Like so they expanded to a lot of states earlier, and then shrunk their
Yeah,
focus.
exactly. Yeah, so like for like uh, in past, in past they were in quite a number of cities, but at that time even Big Basket was there, and Big Basket was giving them quite a tough competition. So the Grofers had to shut down in various cities, and like there were major uh, uh, cuts in the jobs also at Grofers. But after like
Right.
switching to 5 cities, these guys have taken quite a lot of space. We can actually see that like in 2 years they have seen a quite a turnaround, and they have reached the break even point, which like every startup actually dreams of. Yeah. So
I
that's a
think
great news for them.
that's like a general sentiment or general thing to be kept in mind, even while building anything, which is we see a lot of companies like expand because they have infusion of capital and expand fast and far. But it takes a lot to do something very well for a small community and do that enough to turn profitable, which we've even seen, like if you talk about other industries, we've seen Zomato open up in Indonesia,
Yeah.
and then had to close that down because the efficiencies at that scale just weren't working out, and they felt that they could be profitable just
By
focusing on the
limiting to
fewer
yeah,
countries that
exactly.
they
Yeah.
focusing on the fewer countries that they operate at, but just doing that very well. So coming back to the same point here. So Future Retail giving a piece to Amazon is purely to accelerate
Their drop in
accelerate
sales.
this. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So they say that the future coupons has a minor stake in the future retail. So they have majorly taken that from the future coupons. So they have
Right.
taken future coupons from their total ownership. They have taken 49% stake. Okay, so
Correct. And I think that
overall, I
that
don't
makes
think it
sense
will be
with
that much.
the
Yeah.
entire FDI of you can't own more than 49 or 49% of a company
Yes,
in India.
yes, yeah, right,
Yeah,
right,
so
right.
given this situation and scenario, now let's get get into what Mukesh Ambani and Reliance and Jio has brewing for us. So one of the things that we understand is that yes, retail is growing, and but there are also so many mom and pop or like kirana stores across India that are not connected or don't have an avenue to directly sell to to consumers, and I think that's the space that Jiomart is trying to work in. And now if you think about how to get those many people into onto a platform, they need to be connected by some sort of network in the first place, whereby you can know who exactly sells what, and you can offer them some sort of platform to manage it. And I think the groundwork for this was set very, very early on and very strategically by the Reliance Group by launching Jio.
Yeah, so Jio was launched in 2016 by Reliance Industries. So Jio is a network is a service provider in telecom space. And so the strategy that they took was that if you take a Jio SIM, or if per se if you take Jio services, the services would be available for free for an year, which includes your free data, free calling, free messages. That's for about
Right.
an year, and without placing any limit on the consumer. Yeah, it was only when that it actually got quite a space when a restriction was put on, when a restriction was placed by Geo, that a consumer can use 1 GB of data per day, but that too didn't charge a single penny. So that ways it has been quite a great success for Geo. They have been quite disrupted in the telecom space for other providers, especially Airtel and Vodafone and Idea. Uh, so yeah, so how Reliance created digital life ecosystem in India. So these guys have a pan-India coverage. They went for cheaper tariffs. Post a year of free services, these guys started up with a very reasonable amount then that was taken by other operators, almost 1/3 of the amount that was charged. So it provided you for the first time VoLTE, which is voice over LTE services and data.
Correct. No, so I think, yeah, this was very, very strategic. This by no means was something that they just started the telecom provider first and then was like, okay, by the way, we can also do all of these other things. With a country like India that desperately needed to be connected, given its size and very slow rate of adoption. Yeah, of technology. This was something that was very well thought of, and now we're just seeing the repercussions of it in e-commerce. But they have definitely gone in and attacked a lot of the other sectors, including music. So they bought Savan, which was So they bought Savan, which was a big player in the Indian music scene. And then they've acquired a company called Haptic, which was servicing other corporates for internal HR messaging and I think it's like automated messaging, right? That's what Haptics was good at, and all of this was to build this ecosystem which now they're leveraging for e-commerce. And so now that they have this network of people and especially Kirana stores who use Jio, they're now incentivizing them to get onto Jiomart to start selling on them. So
yeah, so now that we know that Jio has been like the fastest has taken has taken customers at a very fast pace in telecom sector in India.
Right.
So they have almost grabbed hold of 350 million users in India. Yeah. So with a wide base of 315 million users in India, they are aiming Jiomart at their primary customers who are actually Jio customers.
Right.
So those are their primary target audience per se. So it won't be that heavy for them for customer acquisition that they have to spend. They already have a very wide base. So that ways they will be saving up on a little cost on customer acquisition too at the same time. Uh,
Right, and if you look at
So,
this,
yeah.
so looking at the previous article, you have Reliance Jio, which is their telecom network, has a huge user base in itself,
Yeah.
and then it's not like Reliance isn't in the retail space also, right? So if you look at Reliance's retail efforts, so Reliance Retail was founded in 2006. Is the largest retail in the country by revenue, and it serves more than 3.5 million customers each week through over 10,000 stores, right? So
Yeah.
so that's an additional level of supply chain and logistics and a user base that they've cultivated over, say, 13 years now, and
Yeah.
13
Yeah.
14 years now,
Oh,
and
14 years, yeah.
yeah, and that coupled with their digital reach, where again people interact with Geo through one single app called My Geo, or Geo Life, or whatever it is. So it's on your phone. That's the only place you interact with it.
Yeah. So this is the BBC article, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like BBC article is quite interesting. They had a quick analysis on the current situation of Jiomart coming in. So like these guys basically say that uh, the India's current policy isn't that favorable to the outside players coming into market.
Right.
In the sense like there are quite FDI restrictions to save up on the domestic market that India has actually.
Yeah.
So like Amazon and Flipkart, which is backed by Walmart basically, these guys are quite restricted in terms of deep discounting.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Jio, being the domestic player, won't have such a deep impact of the FDI policy or rules that are in place.
Right.
Though there are Indian competitors in this space like Big Basket and Grofers too, which have quite a customer base.
Mhm.
But seeing Jio coming in, since we also know that Reliance has been quite disrupted in any space that they enter, whether be it telecom, whether be it energy, power. Uh, so yeah, like I think the same strategy would also be followed with respect to the retail space too by Reliance,
Right.
by Jiomart. Uh,
And the
so
and the comparison with Amazon is uncanny, right? So you were saying Amazon's tagline is what?
yeah, so like these guys, Jiomart has come out with a tagline called "Desh ki Nai Dukaan," yeah,
Right.
which is very similar to Amazon's "Apni Dukaan" campaign.
Right.
Yeah, so that ways even the jingles are quite similar that way.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the
So now the fight is
yeah.
who's the regional Dukaan.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And they have to like provide a lot of incentives to achieve this, right? So here on Jiomart's website itself, we see them giving reasons as to why we should shop with them, and they're definitely
Yeah.
bringing out the the big guns here, saying, okay, listen, we have a lot of products. And again, they're
Yeah.
following a similar model for when they started Jio, saying, okay, we have free home delivery with no minimum order value, and that's definitely going to get a lot of people
Yeah,
to start
yeah.
using them, at least initially.
Definitely, we also know that India is a very price sensitive market.
Correct.
So that way, Jio would be able to much fastly acquire the Indian mindset with respect to free delivery and also no question asked return policy. So
Yeah.
these are basically the trends that are already currently in the market space.
Yeah.
So Jio is also playing on the similar trends as of now. And yeah, like they also have a registration form which says that you could save up to 3,000 rupees at launch. Uh, but I guess they haven't launched the app yet. But yeah, sooner they will. be
Yeah, and
coming up on
the only
your-
other point of focus is that instead of establishing its native warehousing, Reliance is building Jiomart on an online to offline model, where it will source
Yeah.
grocery items from nearby merchants, similar to what Amazon Prime Now and Grofers used to do earlier. And so this means that the new venture
Yeah.
will, emerge as a platform for offline retailers to cater to online focused customers. So this is really tying up those people who are not connected to the internet but have a lot of inventory sitting around. And this means that a lot of that inventory will also now, stop going bad and can be consumed before it goes bad, because it's they have a lot more people to push that inventory to. So like vegetables and highly perishable goods just sitting around and that can only be fresh for only so long, is now going to find a place, and someone to consume it. I think that's generally good for the environment as well. And so
And we also seeing the acquisition made by Reliance specifically for Jiomart. If we see, they have recently acquired a logistics startup which is Grab a Grub to augment its e-commerce venture. Uh, the company was also spotted dealing with software company which is C Square, that serves a solution to distributors, retailers, online e-commerce, and sale force automation. So I guess this would majorly for easier billings when they buy, or like a order is majorly placed to a offline retailer. So it could be for
right.
them.
So currently I think they're already online, and they're operating in Navi Mumbai, Thane, and Kalyan.
Yeah, they're just to Maharashtra as
Correct.
And what they're just serving in 3 places.
Correct, and I think I'm still not sure how you access it to order it in that area, because they don't have mobile apps yet, and I don't see anything else on their website also.
I think since they have a column called Enable WhatsApp Assistance, so they might be taking orders on WhatsApp just to check.
Possibly.
Maybe just their delivery systems.
Yeah, but it's still very unclear.
Like what maximum.
But it's still very unclear on how one would get into Jiomart and then start placing orders. And there's also a place where you can pre-register, and I think you'll probably get notified when it's active in your area, because they definitely take your PIN code. And I think that's to kind of gauge demand as to how many people from what area are requesting. So this move, so I think the bottom line is that this move by Jiomart is to tap into the remaining, say, 95% of retail that is largely untouched by technology and the onset of digital platforms. It's unlocking the potential that 95% can provide. That what Jio is after, and it's something that needs to be done. And funnily enough, it's probably only Reliance along with Jio that's in a position to actually nail that effort, right? Only because they are entirely integrated vertically, starting from being the telecom infrastructure and information infrastructure and base layer of information, all the way up until the application layer facing the consumer. It's very interesting now to see what Jiomart is going to do with
another thing of Reliance is that it isn't a technology company. So like whichever sector they majorly enter, their primary move is to acquire whatever is available locally, in the sense like whichever company is performing well, or like they are majorly on the acquisition spree. So like for the past decade, we have been seeing that Reliance has acquired $3 billion worth of companies. Similarly, we could see a trend of acquisition by Jiomart. They might acquire either Big Basket or Grofers to support their further logistic and customer base. But seeing how the big buck the Jiomart is gonna be, I don't think they would require such small startups in front of it. Like it's definitely gonna give a very big competition to small startups, like small company ventures like your Big Basket and Grofers, whereas Amazon and Flipkart are still high on capital infusion. So these
I mean,
guys
capital
might
cash,
be able to
cash
sell
flows
the-
is something
yeah,
Reliance
yeah,
does not worry
yeah.
about. Yeah.
Exactly, like these guys would be like even the big guys like Amazon and Flipkart would be able to sail their
Yeah.
boat, but I think the major suffering would be taken by either big basket and grocers majorly in the space.
Yeah, I believe so as
Yeah,
well.
and like we
Yeah.
could actually see, and we could actually see a acquisition taking place by Jiomart this year maybe itself, of either big basket or grocers.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? When they have the market stronghold in Delhi, and they're even profitable there. Um,
Exactly, when we already seeing that
and technical know-how. Yeah.
Grofers is already reaching, as we already seeing Grofers has reached a break-even point in Delhi NCR and now moving towards
Yeah.
Kolkata. So definitely, like Geo would be wanting to get that experience on
Yeah.
team and those techniques. So yeah, definitely an acquisition we can actually see this year coming up.
Super. So that's been it with the Indian retail space, and I think we'll definitely now we at some point we will do a follow up to this, because we're following the space very closely, and yeah, it's always interesting when Reliance comes in and does something big, but in general, with especially the developed markets for Amazon, and like with that being kind of saturating, how they will win in India, with all the money that they're pumping in, is definitely interesting to watch.
Yeah, we'll see the next
Great.
one. Till then, peace.
Yeah, catch you guys in the next one.